Story 45. Jesus enters Jerusalem in his final teachings. Matthew 21-25, Mark 11:13, Luke 19:21, John 12. The triumphal entry, the king comes in humility. As Jesus and his disciples approached Jerusalem, he sent 2 disciples ahead to bring a young donkey. He rode into the city, fulfilling the prophecy, "Behold, your king comes to you, humble and riding on a donkey." Zechariah 9:9. The people rejoiced, spreading their cloaks and palm branches on the road, shouting, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." But not everyone was happy. The religious leaders were jealous and angry, fearing that Jesus' influence was growing. Jesus cleanses the temple, respect for God's house. When Jesus entered the temple, he saw money changers and merchants selling animals for sacrifice at unfair prices. He overturned their tables and drove them out, saying, "My house shall be called a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves." This angered the chief priests, but the poor and the sick came to Jesus, and he healed them. The greatest commandment, love above all. A Pharisee asked Jesus, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment?" Jesus answered, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself." This teaching summed up all of God's laws. True worship is about love for God and others. Warnings against hypocrisy. Jesus warned the people about the religious leaders who looked holy on the outside but were full of pride and corruption. They love places of honor and long prayers, but do not truly follow God. Do not be like them. True faith is not about showing off, but about humility and obedience to God. The parable of the 10 virgins. Be ready for Jesus' return. Jesus told a story about 10 virgins waiting for a wedding feast. 5 were wise and brought extra oil for their lamps. 5 were foolish and had no extra oil. At midnight, the bridegroom arrived, but the foolish ones ran out of oil and were locked out of the feast. Jesus said, "Stay awake, for you do not know the day or the hour." This teaches us to always be ready for Jesus' return by living faithfully every day. Reflection for children. Jesus entered Jerusalem as a humble king. Do we welcome him into our hearts? God's house is a place of prayer. Do we respect the church and pray with sincerity? Jesus calls us to love God and our neighbor. Do we show love in our words and actions? We must not only look good on the outside but truly follow God in our hearts. Like the wise virgins, we should always be ready for Jesus by living a good and holy life.